and welcome to Upcycled Maker Club with the Warren County Library System. My name is Sandy Roberts, and I'm the Makerspace Coordinator for the library. So I come to you each week here on Facebook Live with a new project that you get you making and inventing and creating and trying something new, all using upcycled materials or easy to find materials from around the house. I'm just going to do a quick sound check and make sure, because I've had some problems lately with making sure that my sound is coming through. Sounds like everything is working. All right. So just to let you know, I am following along. So if you have any questions as we go through this project, please feel free to ask, and I will do my best to answer. Today's project is a very special one. We are kicking off World Space Week today. World Space Week is celebrated each month in October from the 4th through the 10th. And basically the goal is just to get people interested in astronomy, cosmology, all these wonderful sciences related to space, engineering related to space, and to celebrate all of our achievements, all the things we've learned, and all the goals that we have for the future. So it's a really exciting time. People host programs all over. And if you Google World Space Week, and I'll even put it in the comments, you can actually take part in events from all over the world because so many of them are online this year. Normally, we'd be doing Space Week activities in the library, but little different this week. So this year, so we are coming to you online just like everyone else. So this is our first World Space Week project, and we have lots of others. Please make sure you go to our website. Let's just put that up there for you real quick, warrenlib.org. And you'll see that we have Hour of Code, we've got a scavenger hunt, all kinds of other fun things for the week for World Space Week. We also have a ton of fun Halloween stuff planned, so you can't go wrong. This month is packed full of great activities for you and your family. So make sure that you take advantage of those. Go to that website, register, see what the schedule is. Okay, so what is today's project? We are going to make a really fun constellation craft. Constellations are groups of stars that we have associated with different stories. Now, it might just seem like something kind of fun to do, but constellations are actually really important because it was a way that we could pass down time literally to people. So you could look up into the stars, see an arrangement of stars, say Orion or Cassiopeia. And that arrangement of stars might tell you what direction you're headed in or what direction you want to head in. That combination of stars being above your head at a certain time of night, early in the evening or close to dawn, could tell you a lot about what time of year it was. Ancient people used constellations to know when to plant their food, when to harvest different crops. We used it for seafaring nations to travel across the water. And we used it, of course, just to travel across the land. So constellations are much more than just cool patterns of stars. They are something that literally every culture on the planet has used as a tool to understand their place in the universe. And yes, they also have really cool stories. We often in America associate with Greek and Roman stories assigned to the constellations. Those are not the only ones out there, okay? There are wonderful constellation stories based on Native American myths, Chinese, Indian, African, all over the world. Every people had their own amazing stories for the constellations. So, these constellations, of course, change throughout the year. Both during the course of the night, you will see certain constellations above your home early in the evening, and they will change as the night goes on because the Earth is literally rotating on its axis, right? So you can think of it a little bit like if you're in the car and you're looking out the window, you're going to see different sights as you travel along in that car. So as the night goes on, we see different parts of the sky. We see different parts of space. The same thing is true as we travel around the sun, as we revolve around the sun. So we're seeing a whole different view of the universe. Certain constellations are blocked from us because they're actually in the sky during the day, and our sun, our closest star, is so bright we can't see them. They're there, we just can't see those constellations. Those constellations are actually the ones that in astrology give us our sun signs. It's the constellation you can't see in the sky because it's blocked by the sun. which is kind of an interesting take on that, right? Anyway, these constellations are actually really important to ancient man, and they're really interesting to study now. In fact, they're kind of the first thing you need to get to understand so that you can find other things in the night sky. That way you can find planets and satellites and, the space station once you learn your basic constellations. So I thought that it'd be the perfect thing to start off with for Space Week is to use our constellations and to make a really fun little craft based on that. So what we have here is a little Constellation Lantern. And you can kind of see, I think you can see, I'm looking in the camera. Yeah, I've got little holes punched in my cup. And as I rotate that cup, different constellations are shown. Now I just did 2 on this, but you could certainly do a constellation each for spring, summer, fall, and winter. Or you could pick maybe 4 constellations for autumn that would be in the sky from the early evening hours all the way till dawn. So you can really pick whatever constellations you want to put on your lantern. And I know it doesn't shine very brightly in here because it's a pretty bright room, but I've actually got a little electric tea light in there. So you could put this in your room at night and adjust it over time to see the different constellations. And then down here, I just made a little scene, a little house, and you might be much more artistically gifted than I am. But it's just kind of fun. So you always have your place in the universe, and you can see how the stars change from there. So fun little craft to do, and we're going to talk about the constellations as we make it. So what do we need today? Okay. Very simple supplies. You're going to need a couple of cups. Now, I do recommend if you have plastic cups like these that maybe have been used, give them a wash. They're perfect for this craft. Different sizes. I tend to prefer something that's like your 10 to 12 ounce. This is more of I think this is 15 or 16 ounces. This one's kind of large. It'll work though. The only problem with using plastic cups, obviously they're not biodegradable, but we're saving them anyway. They're harder to paint sometimes. So you might have to experiment a little bit to get a paint that really sticks to these kind of plastic cups. Now, there are all kinds of little cups like this. This one's styrofoam. That's really hard to paint. That you're going to have to use magic markers on or permanent markers. Sorry, my nose is itching today. So this, if you wanted to use, this will take permanent marker. And you can use Sharpies or other permanent markers on a styrofoam cup if you want to rescue that from the landfill. And I do suggest that you try to rescue styrofoam cups from the landfill. Okay, they're not good for the earth. But if you happen to have those around, you can use that. This is a really tiny one. Again, I'd suggest something more that size. Then there are these tiny little Dixie cups. I don't really recommend something this small. It can be really hard to make your constellations on it. But if that's all you've got, give it a shot, see what works, right? Okay, so that's our cups. I kind of like this size, like I said, 10, 12 ounce paper cup. Now, depending on the cup again, some have more of a wax coating than others. Try to get something with the minimal coating on it. Just again, when you paint it, it's going to be easier. Say that you don't have paint. Well, you can choose literally any cup then and just cover it with some construction paper. You just wrap the construction paper around, trim off the edges. I used a little invisible tape, or you could use some stick glue to make it stick to your cup. But if you're going to paint, I have found that more matte style paints, this is vintage decor paint. This is like a chalkboard style paint. This adheres really well to the waxy cover of my cups. I found that glossy or metallic paints did not coat very well, and I had to put on like coat after coat after coat, and it was very frustrating. This I was able to do with one coat, and it gave me pretty good coverage. So definitely something matte, a good thick acrylic paint seems to work. You can try things like poster paint. Again, it's nice and thick, and that's probably going to give you good coverage. But you're going to have to experiment a little bit. If all else fails and you're comfortable with using spray paint, go for a matte spray paint. That'll cover any of these kinds of cups. But you're going to need to do that outside, okay? And that might be a little more expensive option. So, like I said, I found that this kind of chalkboard paint, a matte chalkboard paint, worked really nicely. And you can get this in all kinds of colors. You might even have it sitting around the house already. So, I chose to go with kind of a nice gray because it's what I had on hand. You could use black, you could use blue, whatever you feel like a night sky looks like. If you're someone, again, who's really good with painting, you might want to paint, like the layers of colors that you see at sunset, for example. Get creative and have fun. I went for simplicity. So, step number 1, paint your cup. And you only have to paint the outside. Try and get around the rim. I didn't do a great job on this one, but it's pretty forgiving. So that's the first thing you're going to need. The second thing you're going to need is another cup of the same size so that one cup can fit in the other. Now, you can paint that second cup if you like. Paint it with a white or, a green or whatever. Paint it a contrasting color because it is going to be your little home or your observatory or your telescope or you. I chose not to because I found that permanent markers did really well on just about any surface. So you could just color with those. Works very nicely. Okay, so so that's the whole cup situation and the paint situation. Other materials. Sorry, I should have given myself the index card I usually leave on my desk. You are also going to need a pair of scissors. If you have scissors that actually have shorter blades, it works better for this craft because you're trying to get in that inside the cup, and shorter scissors actually work better. You're going to need something to poke holes with. You have lots of options. Pencil, a sharpened pencil will work just fine. If you have like these little bamboo skewers, even some chopsticks will work for that. I personally always have an awl around because I like to do bookbinding and things like that. So an awl is a tool that has a sharp point on the end that you can use. That's what I'm going to be using because it's what I'm most comfortable using. But you don't have to have a fancy tool like that. A sharpened pencil or pen will work. You are going to need, I suggest, a little bit of tape just for taping our templates of our constellations to our cups. I'm going to put these over here too so that they're ready to go. And then, like I said, markers, stickers, whatever you want to use to decorate with, you're going to want to make sure that you have on hand as well. And I'm going to go ahead and just put a couple of these over there for me to use. So that's basically it beyond these. I posted a link in the description, and these are from a science teacher's website. They're really nice. They're constellation flashcards, and I used to use these all the time when I taught science. I love these. What I love about them is they talk about what different type of constellation is. Is it circumpolar? Circumpolar are constellations that basically circle around the North Star. So they just kind of twist in the night. They're always there all year round, all night long. But then she also labels like there are winter constellations, etc. So these are all based on living in North America. Obviously, the constellations you see are different if you live in South America. I don't know if you knew that. So these are really cool because they're very helpful for if you want to make sure that you're picking a winter and a summer and a fall, or if you want all fall. These are nice and categorized. They're also great for just learning your basic constellations. And she's got a ton of information there about using these as a game, using them as flashcards. So it's just a really nice set. It's totally free. You just go, you print. You can resize them because they're JPEGs, so they're just photos. So you can resize them to whatever size matches your cup. So really nice set of constellations. I would suggest that you print those out. Okay, so that's our materials. Checking, no questions, that's great. I'm gonna switch cameras and show you how to do this. Here we go. I'll grab my glasses too because inevitably I get myself in trouble because I can't see. Okay, so you can see our little list of supplies that you need on the Post-it note there. You can see I've got my templates. I'm just gonna put those aside for the moment. Because what I want to start with is I want to draw my little home or whatever I want, whatever scene I want on the bottom. Now, let's see. Whoops. On this version, my previous, my example, I went pretty close to the bottom here because I want to give myself as much space for my constellation as possible. You have to be, that can be challenging. So if you don't feel real comfortable with using your scissors, you might want to go more like an inch or two instead of really far down. It's really up to you. I just chose to give myself as much space for my constellation as I could. So here we go. Very easy. I'm just going to take my Sharpie. I'm going to, let's see, what kind of a scene do I want to have this time? Maybe I'm not a very good artist. I'm going to be honest with you, 100%. My daughters, very good at art. They practice it a lot. I just never got good at it. My sister is an amazing artist. You know, I can do a lot with paint. I like painting, but I'm not good with drawing. So I'm going to draw me. I'm going to give myself some hair. I'm going to give myself a little smile. And I'm going to give myself a telescope. So I can pretend that maybe I'm out there looking at the night sky. Okay? So, like I said, I'm not a fantastic artist, but I think it's kind of fun and it's mine, so I'm good with it. And then I'm just gonna, you know, I could come in here and color a little bit. I'm just gonna kind of give myself maybe a wavy line, maybe my horizon, just to give me a chance to figure out where I want to cut. If I was doing this on my own and I want to be nice and creative, I might fill that in with trees or, you know, other scenery. You can really go to town and make a beautiful scene from your yard or from your town, whatever you like. Now I'm just going to go and get my scissors, and all I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut. Ooh, that was a terrible sound. I have found that it's useful to kind of come and cut most of the top of the cup away first. You can save that for other projects, by the way. Makes a good bookmark. And then that kind of gives me a little bit less to have to worry about. So, you know, with the house, it was easy to find a shape. I'm just going to kind of make a little curved shape here. And you can see what I mean about it gets hard with longer scissor blades to get in there. So that's why if you do have a pair with maybe shorter, or if you, for instance, enjoy using decorative scissors, this could be a really great spot to use to pull out your decorative scissors and add some flair. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut right around kind of where I put my line. I'm not going too crazy about it because I'm just demonstrating. If I was making this to give as a gift, it'd be a really nice gift. I might take a little more time with that and really try to make it perfect. But there we go. I've got my basic scene now. And I just checked that my cup is going to fit in there nicely. And it is. Okay. So I'm going to set that aside. And now I'm going to make my constellations. So before I was saying it might be fun to do maybe one for each season, right? That you could change, or 4 that you might find in the night sky. Or you could just pick your favorites if you want. Here's a great winter constellation. I'm just going to cut it out of my page. Now, the other thing I love about using these, aside from the fact that the website is really good and they're well done and they give you lots of information, is that they're all the same size. So, and they're pretty well suited to fit on my cup, okay, from a sizing perspective. So I know I can line these up kind of in the same spot on each cup, and I'm going to get consistent results. If that's not important to you, you can use whatever constellations you like. Let's see. So I've got Orion there. That's one of my favorites. Let me just pick a second one. What's a good one? I'm probably overthinking this, aren't I? Oh, Cygnus the Swan. I like this one. So here's a summer. Okay? So I'm going to leave myself the space to fill in an autumn and a fall a little bit later. I'm just going to demonstrate putting 2 of these on for now. Okay, so I've got those cut out. I'm just going to put these aside. If you do want to use these as cards or keep them, you may want to consider printing them on thicker cardstock. I'm going to take a little piece of tape, and I'm just going to take my constellation. I'm going to line it up with the top of my cup. Okay, get it nice and even, and just tape it to my cup. And I can do another piece down on the bottom just to keep it all steady. And remember, even if the tape pulls off a little bit of your paint, you're not going to see it because it's going to be below the level of your scene. Okay, now working carefully and making sure that my fingers are not behind where I'm punching, right? I'm just going to carefully poke a hole each spot that there's a star. You might, if you feel like it's an important thing to you, for larger stars, which she's marked, like Betelgeuse and Rigel are larger stars, more prominent. Well, no, I'm misspeaking. They're not necessarily larger. We just see them because they might be closer, they might be larger. There are different reasons we see stars as bigger in our night sky. These are some that you can see very well. So you might want to push your pencil or all through a little bit bigger to make those bigger stars, and then kind of do a little smaller for the 3 on the belt. Every time I think of Orion's belt, I cannot stop thinking of Men in Black and the cat named Orion, right? Anyway, so there we go. We're going to just pull that off. And there we go. There's my constellation right on my cup. And so what will happen is my little scene, me with my telescope looking up, will be able to rotate around. So I'm just going to go ahead and flip and do one on the other side. Same exact process, just to show you a second time. And I like to stand it up when I put on my second constellation, so I know I'm getting it right on the other side. Like to keep it kind of neat. Lining it up at the top. I didn't do a good job with that piece of tape, but it doesn't matter. And down like that. Okay? And again, same thing, making sure my fingers are not behind where I'm poking. And I am choosing, once again, to make tiny holes for tiny stars or stars that we don't see as very large. Now, it can be a little challenging because you can see that the cup kind of wants to depress a little bit when I'm doing this. If that's a problem, if your cup is giving you trouble, and sometimes plastic cups will give you more trouble with that, take a, see if you have like a can, like a can of corn or beans or something like that, and put that inside your cup, and that will help a little bit with keeping the cup in the proper shape while you're doing this. And, it can help protect your fingers too. Okay, there we go. Take off my tape. And there's my Cygnus the Swan. And so as I said, I could put another one there, another one there. If you damage your paint, no big deal. You just put more paint on after you're done. Not going to hurt it. Okay, and then just add our little light right on inside. And you've got your little lantern that can change to show different constellations over time. All right, so that's pretty simple, right? But a lot of fun. Let's head on back over to the other camera. Okay, so I hope that you enjoy that. I hope that you go out there and learn about some of these different constellations. As I said, the website I've put into the description is a good website for that, but there are many websites out there. And of course, our library has lots of books on constellations and on astronomy. So go check out a couple books. Take a look on Hoopla. We have lots of different resources for you. One of my favorites is called The Constellations. It's by an author named Ray, R-E-Y. He's also the gentleman who did the Curious George books. Believe it or not, he was really into astronomy. He loved studying the stars and constellations, and he did, I think, 2 books on star maps, basically, and the stories of the constellations. They're really fabulous. I love them. So make sure you check those out, okay? Anyway, I hope that you enjoyed our fun little Constellation Lantern craft today. I hope that you go out and learn about some of the stars. And remember, you can always make up your own constellations too. That's a fun thing to do as a family. Lay out there on the lawn maybe on a warmer night like we have right now and make up your own constellations. Okay, well, I will see you again very soon. I will be back on Wednesday with Lego Club, and yes, we will be doing space challenges. And then on Friday, I'll be here with Friday Steam, and we're going to be learning about how being in space affects human senses, particularly the sense of touch. All right, so it's going to be really fascinating stuff, and I hope that you join us. In the meantime, my name is Sandy Roberts. I'm the Makerspace Coordinator for the Warren County Library System. I hope that you are staying safe and healthy and having a great fall. Keep making, and I'll see you soon.